Ho ho ho, how are we, GameLeap? Coach Cheese back at it. How was my Santa impression? Let me know. Now, hope you're all having a fab Christmas. In this video, it's going to be an exciting one because we're going to go over the 15 worst items in League of Legends. Now, it's important that when Season 11 actually comes around, which is just after the new year, you have an understanding of what's good and what's bad in the shop. So the next 10 minutes or so will be invaluable. What do you guys think, by the way? What do you think is the worst item in the shop at the moment? It might relate to your role or champion, or you might think an item is just generally that bad. You have to tell us about it. So let us know down below. Now, a quick shout out to Guy, and congratulations to him or her on reaching Challenger on the Chinese Super server because they like my voice and they ended up taking advantage of the huge $50 sale on we have on our lifetime membership at GameLeap.com. He's not trolling, by the way, guys. This is legit. So if you want to be like Guy and conquer the highest elo, then our site linked in the description and comment section is the only one you need. There's hundreds of Challenger courses, guides, and videos, you name it, designed to help you become the best. Alright, let's get into it. Now, we made a top 10 builds video yesterday, guys, and if you haven't already, make sure you check that out. So these items are at the other end of that spectrum, and if you can build another item instead, make sure you do that. Okay, so the 15th worst item in 1025B is Kraken Slayer. Now, before you guys unleash in the comments and say, but Vayne is so broken with it, or any ADC who builds this will 1v9, just hear me out, I beg you. So Kraken, believe it or not, has one of the worst win rates out of any of the major items still, and why do you guys think Riot buffed this item over and over again? It's not because it was good, it was because it was actually pretty trash, and honestly, it's improved a bit for sure, but it can still be a lot better. Now, most champions using this item at the moment are AD carries, right? And what role is the worst in the game? ADC, that's it. They have the lowest win rates out of anyone, and the reason is simple. Their items are trash compared to everyone else. I mean, think of Aphelios, Twitch, Jinx. These ADCs are still helpless with Kraken Slayer and can't do anything against the amount of damage in the game this patch. Now, it might not even be that Kraken is independently like a bad item. It's just that compared to every other big item in the shop, you cannot compete. Alright guys, the 14th worst item in 1025B is Duskblade at Draktar, and you guys are probably like, what? How can Duskblade be on this list? Hey, Duskblade has one of the worst win rates out of all the major items at 50%, and that's for every elo. Now, I know most people think Duskblade makes champions, you know, like Zed, Kha'Zix, Qiyana, etc., broken in lower levels of play, but it really doesn't. Qiyana has a 44% win rate, Zed has just under a 50% win rate, and Kha'Zix has a 51% win rate. Nothing to really write home about. Now, combined with Youmuu's Ghostblade and Edge of Night and other items, yes, Duskblade and the lethality build perform very well, but not every game you are going to reach this point. Now, it falls off significantly the later the game goes as well, so even if you are able to get to your 3-item spike, the enemy team already has all the armor and resistance they need to counter your damage. Moving on to the unlucky number 13, guys, and we have Andrews Anguish. Now, who would have guessed me saying that at the start of the preseason? Because this was the most broken item in the game. But after a hotfix in 1023 and nerf in 1024, Andrews is now close to the bottom of the pile, and you rarely hear of its most popular users like Brand, Swain, and Zara anymore. Now, on top of that, the previous version of this item was called Andrews Torment, and this item was amazing for off-tank mages like Singe, Mordekaiser, and Vladimir. It gave health and tick damage, but the new version is useless for them. The HP has been replaced by mana, and I mean, 2 of them don't even use mana. Now, all in all, Luden's Tempest is a far better option, so try to stay away from Anguish if you can. Here we go, guys. The 12th worst item for 1025B is Sunfire Aegis. And again, this may ruffle a few feathers, but like Andrews, after being one of the most oppressive items at the start of the preseason, its power has dropped off significantly. So much so that Riot nerfed it again this patch. Now, who remembers when a Mumu had like a 60% win rate or whatever it was in 1023? I think we all do, right? Because it was just that impossible to play against. And the underlying reason was Sunfire Aegis. In fact, most of the best champions in the game were tanks because of the sheer power of Sunfire. Rammus, Sejuani, Zac, I mean, some of them are still near the top, but on the whole, the series of nerfs Riot has dished out means your wave clear and jungle clear is a lot weaker, and your skirmishing is poor as well. Now, it's still not the worst, but nowhere near as strong as it once was. The 11th worst item in 1025 is the new Trinity Force. Now, the main reason the new Triforce is kind of underwhelming is because of the new Sheen. It now costs 700 gold, but doesn't grant any mana or cooldown reduction like it previously did. So once you complete Trinity Force, you get no mana and lose out on 10 ability haste. Now, the Spellblade passive you keep, which is important for champions like Gangplank, Nasus, Camille, but on the whole, this version is worse than the old Triforce despite being 400 gold cheaper. Once you you have a Ravenous Hydra in Sterak's Gauge or Death Stance on champions like, Fiora and Camille, and this was our best build in our last video, then Trinity Force becomes fat, but on its own, pretty useless. Alright guys, the top 10, and starting it off we have Stridebreaker. Now this item, like Triforce, also featured on our top 10 builds video with Sterak's Gauge, but the fact is that on its own it doesn't offer enough in the current meta. If you're playing a Bruiser and you want sustain, you buy Gore Drinker. If you want damage, you buy Trinity Force or Divine Sunderer, and if you want a bit of tankiness, you can just buy Plated Steel Caps or Merc Treads. Now Stridebreaker's main advantage is mobility, right? It offers a lot of movement speed via its active and mythic passive, but it's still not impactful enough compared to the other mythic items. Coming in at number 9 guys, we have Immortal Shield Bow, and though this item may seem one of the best, it has the lowest win rate out of all the ADC mythics. Now they all cost 3,400 gold, but Kraken Slayer hits harder, and Gale Force's active and better stats from 1025 make it the best mythic for ADCs. So in comparison, Shield Bow isn't what it once was. Even though the shield and extra life steal is ideal for ADCs trying to survive in a meta where you die from a champion blowing on you, it's still not enough and you're better off trying to outdamage or outplay your way out of fights. Cracking on guys to number 8 on our countdown, and this spot is held by Night Harvester. Now it may still be broken with a Karthus Requiem, but the truth is champions like Fizz, Diana, even Akali, who used this mythic back in 1023, have moved on to bigger and better things because the Harvester is very lackluster indeed. Now originally it was a great bursty assassin type item, and Riot reduced some of this power in 1024. Since then, champions using it, Diana, Fizz, etc., have been on the decline and have opted for other mythics instead, like Rocket Belt. If we take Fizz for example, instead of building Night Harvester into Lichbane for some nutty one-shots, players are now rushing cooldown reduction and Zhonya's because they don't have the damage they once had with Harvester. GameLeap is friendly mid-video reminder to let us know you're enjoying this video and the rest of our Season 11 content by leaving a like down below, and make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our uploads. We want to keep you as informed as possible when the new ranked season starts, so stick around. Okay, number 7 on the countdown is Everfrost. Now I bet some of you haven't even heard of this item. Let me know in the comments if you are that person, and I don't blame you by the way. It's rarely picked at the moment. Why? Because, well, I'll be honest guys, because that's what I'm about. It's actually a decent-ish item. It offers ability power, ability haste, health and mana. It sounds good, but you don't get that health until you buy the full item for 3,400 gold, and its active Glaciate leaves a little to be desired. Now if you guys think of Luden's Tempest, which offers a little bit of AoE and movement speed, this is way more useful and is built a heck of a lot more. Everfrost sounds great for champions like Lissandra, Ahri, and even Swain, but even these are choosing Luden's or Liandry's instead. Here we go guys, number 6 on our countdown is Shirelia's Battle Song, and this is arguably the worst support mythic on the Rift. In fact, I didn't even know why it's a mythic. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now for spellcasting support, you have Moonstone Renewer and Imperial Mandate, and for tanky support, you have Locket of the Iron Solari, and that's it. I mean, I haven't even seen Shirelia's being built in any of my games this season. Like, would you rather have armor and magic resist and give your teammates more defense, or would you rather have some extra movement speed? Now don't get me wrong, movement speed is useful, right? But in this meta, armor and magic resist are vital. If you can get tanky enough so you can withstand all the damage being thrown at you to keep your ADC alive, you're a lot more useful. And if you do get caught with Shirelia's or an ally does, they're dead anyway, and so are you. We're now into the top 5 guys, and the 5th worst item in 1025B is Eclipse. Now this bad boy has been nerfed heaps by Riot since it took the preseason by storm. Everyone was building it, can you guys remember? Like Jhin, Misfortune, Graves, Jace, even assassins like Zed and Talon. Nowadays you could argue this is the worst item in the game, and I wouldn't disagree. The damage has been nerfed, the movement speed, the passive cooldown, the shield, like it's a shade of its former self, and this is why its previous abusers, who had some of the highest win rates in the game, have moved on to other items. I mean, Talon for instance, as we discussed in yesterday's video, now built a Gore Drinker, not even a Duskblade. Though lethality is great for snowballing and when you have a lead, in the bigger picture this stat is underperforming across the board, and so is Eclipse. Now we're going to follow up Eclipse with its lethality rival if you like, Prowler's Claw, the 4th worst item of 1025B. Now this one as well you could claim is the worst item going around at the moment, and yeah, I'm not arguing, it is pretty trash. Now I think when this came out everyone was in awe of its active and quite scared of it. On paper it sounds crazy, right, on champions like Zed, Talon and all these assassins, but the reality is that it sucks. Now it's only useful when you're ahead, and if you were to build lethality, why not just build a Duskblade instead? You hit harder, and though the Claw's dash sounds and looks kind of sick, it's mostly pointless. It might be useful in like 1 out of 10 games and you can show your ego the insane clip you got, but your match history will be red. So if you want W's and to climb, stay away from the claw guides. I find the item fun as well, by the way. I'm just saying it's still lacking a lot. Alright guys, the top 3, here we go. The third worst item at 1025B is Saras Embrace. Now if you play Kassadin, Rise, and Nivea, you will know why this is the pits. Now if you don't know, it gives AP and mana for 3000 gold, and that's literally it. Before its preseason change, it gave both of these and cooldown reduction and one of the most useful actives in the game, a shield which would save your bacon. Now these are gone, and it's so bad that mages are now opting for the other version of Tear of the Goddess, Muramana, which gives AD instead of AP, but gives you 15 ability haste. Hopefully Riot put the whiskey down and just put some cooldown in Saras, but until they do that, Saras is on the list for eternity. Okay, so the runner-up to the worst item in League in 1025B is Chemtech Purifier. Yeah, I don't know what it is either. No, I do, guys. I'm just playing. Now, this is one of the grievous wounds items in the game, and for 2300 gold, you get 50 AP, some ability haste, and mana regen. It seems okay, but for supports and mages out there, it pales in comparison to your other major items, and if you did want healing reduction, Morello's is the more impactful choice. Guys, just keep forgetting this item exists, alright? Okay, we've made it to the summer, guys. Now, before we reveal the worst item at 1025B, friendly reminder to make use of the red-hot sale on at our website, GameLeap.com. 50 bucks off, and we've got hundreds of challenges, courses, guides, videos, everything waiting for you just one click away. So in a few seconds time, scroll down and get your index finger moving. Now for the first place, guys, I'm going to throw some clues at you and you have to guess what it is. Now if you get it right, let me know in the comments and if you agree or not with its placing. Alright, so first clue, I was added to the game in the preseason. My favorite champions used to be Singe, Mordekaiser, and Akali until I got nerfed in 1023 and 1024, and I am a mythic item. Now guys, if you guess Riftmaker, massive congratulations, pat yourselves on the back. And do you agree with me here? I mean, I think this item is just weak as now. It used to be great on mages that loved, extended fights like the 3 I just mentioned, but the nerfs have sent it into another dimension, and yeah, it's just the worst. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Please leave a like and subscribe and turn on all notifications. This has been Coach Eggs, and Merry Christmas. Peace.